Masal khair. Right now we're going to talk about using Ism Faa3il to create what's called a hal clause. Ism Faa3il, you'll remember, is kind of the active participle, the doer of an action that we can get in a very regular way by modifying a verb and creating a certain kind of verbal noun. And a hal clause is something that we use to describe the state that the subject was in while performing a primary action. Remember that hal literally means state, like in the formal Arabic greeting, kayf al-hal, how is the state, is literally what we're saying. Often in English, for a hal clause, we can get away with using a gerund, the ing form of a word, in a case like, the students entered the classroom dragging their feet and rubbing their tired eyes. So that dragging their feet or rubbing their eyes. That's something that we could express with a hal clause in Arabic. There are actually multiple ways of creating hal clauses, but right now we're just going to focus on using Ism Faa3il because it requires a little bit more grammatical precision. If you'd like to review how to construct Ism Faa3il, we do have a separate video on that I would encourage you to go and consult. So if we wanted to say something in a longer sentence in Arabic, we would need to take that Ism Faa3il and put it in the mansoob case ending. Often that will involve an alif and fatha tanween, or sometimes just fatha tanween by itself. We also have a video on the mansoob that you can go and consult if you'd like some review about the different applications of that subject. Let's take a look at an example. If I wanted to say, I left the city heading for my family's house, I could do it like this. غادرت المدينة. And here we have a verb in Arabic, يقصد, that means to aim for, to head for in the geographical sense. So I left the city heading for my family's house. Now I want to take this form 1 verb and put it into the fa'il pattern. So I identify the judr, the root, qaf, sad, dal, and I put in the fa'il pattern, qasid, and the final step is making it mansoob, which I'm going to do like this. Qasidan Bait Usrati, my family's house, or the house of my family. Let's take another example. If we remember the story of Khalid or Tariq in Al-Kitab, whose dad doesn't want him to study literature, we could say, my father refused, saying that he does not want me to study literature. رفض والدي. Now, the form 1 verb يقول is a hollow verb. It has a waw as the middle letter of its judr here, and this is a little bit irregular. With most form 1 hollow verbs, that vowel is actually going to turn into a hamza in the fa'il pattern. So my father refused, رفض والدي, and we're actually going to form the fa'il participle qa'il. And again, we're going to finish it off with the mansoob ending. قائلا إنه لا يريد, saying that he doesn't want, etc. Let's take an example with a feminine ending. If we want to say that the student, the female, the grammatically feminine student studied Arabic smiling, we could say it as follows. درست الطالبة اللغة العربية while smiling, smilingly, if you will. We could take that Form 8 verb, ابتسم, and now you might go back to the other video on Ism Faa3il for a refresher on how to derive different forms of Ism Faa3il. But what we're going to do here is turn ibtasama into mubtasim, and because we're describing a feminine subject here, this grammatically feminine student, we're going to say mubtasima, but we still need to add that mansub, and since we have a tamabuta here, a grammatically feminine marker, we don't have an alif like in these examples, we just say mubtasimatan. If we wanted to make any of these subjects plural or describe the actions of a group of people or things, it's very, very easy since most asma fa'il take regular plural endings. We would have to watch out though, because you'll remember that in Fusha we have a couple of different regular endings depending on whether the noun is marfu'a, mansub, or majroor. So for our mansub, we're going to need in these examples. So they all left the city qasidin, we would say bayt usratihim, their family's house, or all the parents and aunts and uncles refused qailin. Or if we were referring to a group of grammatically feminine students, all of them smiling, we could say mubtasimat, with that regular plural ending. In all of these cases, we could probably get away with breaking up these ideas into shorter sentences. We could say, I left the city, I went to my family's house, or my father refused, he said that he doesn't want, etc. But using these hal clauses is a great way to create longer, more sophisticated sentences. It's much more elegant and eloquent than using short, choppy bits of language to express the same ideas. So when you are studying and applying this structure, make that a goal, to think of more elegant and sophisticated ways to glue those ideas together. And that's the hal clause using Ism Faa3il.